And it's hello from me. So, Andy, here we are on Tower Bridge. Tell us, why are we here today?
Right, well, because nearly 4 years ago, I started this channel just in front of this bridge, and as you know, this bridge is the symbol of our channel, Tower Bridge English.
That's right.
So I think it's time to return. Okay, so like a lot of 19th century architecture, Tower Bridge is actually built to look a lot older than it really is. It was built in 1894, which is just 6 years shy of the 20th century. So actually, it's almost a 20th century building. And it had to look like it fitted in with Tower Bridge, and also it had to open in the middle to let big boats and ships go through. So those are the two things that Parliament required the bridge to be. Also, it has some famous historical moments. The number 78 bus driver, Albert Gunter, was driving along there in 1952, and he suddenly realised that the bridge had started opening. Now, the warning bells that usually go off were not on this time. Somebody had forgotten to put the alarm bells on. So the bridge was opening and he was driving across it, and so he had to make a quick decision. So suddenly he put his foot on the accelerator and he jumped the bus over the gap and successfully got to the other side. So he saved all of his passengers' lives, and because he was able to do that, he got the princely sum of £10.
So, why is there no lamp there? Well, actually, the fact is, this was never designed as a lamp. This is, in fact, a chimney, because below us is the room that was used by the guards who were guarding the bridge here. And they used to keep warm by burning coal. So, of course, you need somewhere for the smoke to escape. Even though they haven't burnt coal here since the 1950s, they've never put a lamp here. It's well worth going for a visit inside the bridge. You've got the engine rooms, you've got fantastic views across the river, of course, either side, but the best bit for me is the glass walkway. You can have a look down and see the river underneath your feet. It might feel a bit weird at first, but it is absolutely amazing. I thoroughly recommend it. One of my favourite things to do in London.
So we're just to the east of Tower Bridge. We're on the north side of the river, St Katherine's Dock. It's named after the hospital of St Katherine by the tower, which was built in the 1100s, so nearly 1,000 years ago. And then in the 1820s, this whole area was redeveloped and the hospital was knocked down. And also, unfortunately, over 11,000 people were kicked out of their homes to make way for the place being changed into a dock area. So the cost of that actually was enormous. It was over £2 million. And remember, this is in the first half of the 19th century, so that would have been a lot of money. Crazy money, actually. So then, in the 1990s, it became the marina, the place you can see today. Full of millionaires' yachts, billionaires' yachts. It's a place of leisure and relaxation, I guess. There's lots of restaurants to go to and that kind of thing. There's actually also a medieval banqueting hall, which I think is just over there somewhere. There's also a posh supermarket, Waitrose, just over there somewhere as well. Okay, so here we are at the Dickens Inn, which is one of the most recognisable buildings in the area. It's certainly where a lot of the tourists go. It was built, it's quite an old pub, it was built in the 18th century. Strangely enough, the building was originally 70 metres to the west, but they moved it to make way for a housing project. There is a bit of history as well here. Ernie Wise was the first member of the public to make a UK mobile phone call in 1985. Ernie Wise was a comedian, and if you are under 40, you probably do not know who I'm talking about.
We are now at the Tower of London, and nowadays it's probably most famous as the place where the crown jewels are kept, but there's been a building here for almost 1,000 years, ever since William, the Duke of Normandy, otherwise known as William the Conqueror, came over here to begin his reign in 1066. When we think about the Tower of London, probably what most people think about is the centrepiece here, the White Tower that was built after a great fire in 1077. And at the time, it was the tallest building in London. And it's on a hill here as well. So you can imagine how dramatic it must have looked. This huge, imposing building made of white Normandy stone. The tower's been a palace. It's been the site of a mint where coins were produced. It's been a prison, and it's been a place of execution. Although one strange fact is that there were more people executed here in the 20th century than had ever been executed before. Now, from the early 13th century all the way through to the 19th, wild animals were kept here as well. So this place has been the home to lions, leopards, elephants, bears, hyenas, all sorts of other animals. In 1252, the King of Norway gave Henry III a polar bear. And that bear used to entertain the passers-by by going into the Thames to swim and catch its lunch. All around the tower now, there are 13 amazing wire sculptures by the artist Kendra Hayes to commemorate some of the animals who lived here. Nowadays, it's the home to ravens, and the story goes that if ever the ravens leave the tower, then the kingdom will fall. That's why, first of all, their feathers are trimmed, and secondly, they're given really good food to eat. So it's all for our safety and protection. If you're into ghost stories, you need to know that the Tower of London is one of the most haunted places in London, maybe the most haunted. There have been plenty of sightings of the ghost of Anne Boleyn, for example. She was the second wife of Henry VIII and executed on his orders in 1536. And also, a number of people say that they've seen the ghost of Lady Jane Grey, who was queen for only 9 days and executed in 1554 while she was still only in her teens. There are far too many ghost stories to talk about right now, but if you do come here, just hope that you don't see the ghost of a bear, because the story is that anybody who sees it doesn't live to tell the story themselves. Before we leave here, we should mention the yeoman warders, otherwise known as the beefeaters. There are different reasons you'll see why they got their names, but the one that's quoted most often is the fact that they used to have beef as part of their daily meal, their daily rations. And that was quite expensive meat, so that shows just how valued, how important they were. So in the past, their job was to guard the tower, but now they're the people who give you a guided tour when you come here. And just like the ravens, they actually live here. Can you imagine that? What a fantastic place to live.
So Phil, that's it for another adventure.
That's right. Well, we've seen a lot of history again today.
We certainly have. And congratulations, Towerbridge English, on your 4th anniversary.
Yep, the big 4th anniversary.